Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is the latest 4th generation Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean 600 meter. So 4th generation, it debuted in 2025, which was the 20th anniversary of the Planet Ocean series. So the watch in my hand represents a sea change, pun intended, for the flagship Seamaster. It's a very different case form. The date is gone. It's a solid case back. There's no more helium escape valve. The watch is all about being thinner and more compact, and it does deliver on that count. In stainless steel, the watch is 42 millimeters in diameter, and Omega claims 13.8 millimeters thick compared to the previous model's 16.1. They're not far off. Omega has a habit of lying badly. They didn't miss by much. This I measure at 14 millimeters thick and 47.4 millimeters lug-to-lug, which is something I never thought I would say about a 42 millimeter Planet Ocean. And a 42 millimeter Planet Ocean that does not have lyre-style lugs. If you look here, this lug profile appears to be informed more than anything else by the 1970s era Omega Seamaster 166.0251. So if you want to figure out where this angular case form came from, it's probably that more than any other single inspiration. Now we've got a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We do have this sort of integrating end link, so you can put a 21 millimeter strap on this, but if you want it to look completely factory, you're going to need that little end link there. The strap itself is different from what we've seen in the past from Planet Oceans. It's an all new molding pattern. Taking a look, we've got waves on the bottom to remind you this is a Seamaster, and then we've got a folding clasp that's familiar to Omega fans, polished satin, twin triggers to release. You got to press both, and then it's got lobes and a pin. You thread the strap in underneath, and then it sits underneath the strap, so there's no extra length visible externally. We've got a combination of polish and satin, and there are some curves here. You can see from end to end there's an arc to the case, although it's far more angular than in the past. We've got a 120 click unidirectional rotating dive bezel with a nice satin media blasted and polished knurling that's easy to grip whether your hands are wet, sweaty, or gloved. We've got a blue ceramic cold enamel filled, that is cold white enamel filled, bezel insert, and then a little luminescent pearl that you can line up with the vintage-inspired broad arrow minute hand. You can see it's a highly luminescent watch. Even the seconds hand is luminous, so you know if your dive timer is running, even at depth and even at night. You can also see that the minute hand and the bezel pearl are both green, so they're easy to distinguish from the other features of the dial when you need to recognize the elapsed time at a glance. Other things worth mentioning, the tactile feel of the bezel and the sound. This might be Omega's best feeling and sounding dive bezel. We have a little bit of a crown guard profile here. You can see the crown gives us a third type of finish. We have satin, we have polish, and we have media blast. We have a little bit on the bezel, we have a little bit on the crown screw down. You can see it's a 600 meter watch, which has been roughly equated to 2,000 feet. No helium escape valve. Omega seems to have made a few distinct choices to thin this watch and reduce the size of the package. So what they did, it appears that they dispensed with the ceramic dial. There's no evidence of ceramic construction. Normally they would write zirconium oxide on the dial. There'd be a little chemical symbol. That's not here, and it's a matte finish. It does not look like ceramic. My belief is that they wanted to get a little bit thinner by going to more conventional dial construction and also eliminating the date. Also adding thickness to a watch is a display case back, so this watch doesn't have one. Rolling over to the dial side again, you can see we have quarter Arabic numerals, and the whiteness of those numerals, as well as the indices, designed to evoke vintage Omega Seamasters. And you can see the Open 6 and Open 9, I believe, designed to evoke the very first generation of the Planet Ocean. We do have an 89,000 series movement. It's the 8912, so we've got the time zone function, and you can move the hour hand without stopping the watch or disrupting the other two hands. Great for travelers. Now you pull the crown out all the way, you do activate the hacking seconds function. There is very little dead angle to this crown. Almost as soon as you start to turn it, the hands move, which is a feature I always appreciate. Applique indices, applique numerals, applique logo and marquee at the top. It's a good-looking premium dial with a sector outboard for reading minutes and seconds. Now, the watch features a movement that you can't quite see, so you're just going to have to visualize. But if you've seen these 8900 series movements, you know what they're like. Bidirectional automatic winding, 2 barrels in series, 60-hour power reserve. You saw the time zone, mobile hour hand. You saw the stop seconds function. It's got a full balance bridge, a free sprung balance to make it more shock resistant. It is anti-magnetic, courtesy of a silicon hairspring, but also an anti-magnetic balance staff, and escapement. So, how anti-magnetic? Well, Omega says because this is a master chronometer, the watch has been tested to over 15,000 Gauss, 1.5 Tesla. That's a minimum, not a maximum, for anti-magnetic qualities. In terms of accuracy, the master chronometer test developed with METAS, the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology. It is a chronometry test of a fully assembled watch to keep time to no worse than -0 + 5 seconds per 24 hours. Remember, COSC is a bare movement, and it's -4 + 6, so this is better. Winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, all of those things are tested. And since this is an ISO 6425 qualified diver, it will have been tested before leaving the factory to 125% of the dive depth listed on the dial. So the watch also features a coaxial escapement as envisioned by George Daniels of England and industrialized by Omega. It is a double impulse direct and indirect impulse system with tangential friction, which is less than the sliding friction of a standard Swiss lever, really an English lever, but I digress. So you don't have the draw and the run to banking that create the majority of the friction with a lever type escapement, a Swiss lever. So here we get improved power reserve, reduced maintenance requirements, and improved chronometry. And there's just a lot to love. It's got a quirky beat rate that I believe is specific to the silicon hairspring, 25,200 vibrations per hour. And then all of this with the screw-down crown, 600 meters, water resistant. And although you can't see the movement, it has polished and blackened screws, as well as arabesque Côte de Genève and a handsome machine-applied bevel. Lots to love here. A new case form, well, a new old case form drawn from the 70s in a thinner, more compact Seamaster Planet Ocean. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Hey guys, one last detail I want to throw in there. It slipped my mind. Not material to most, but the case back is actually made of titanium in order to lighten the watch and perhaps reduce the potential allergic reaction to nickel in stainless steel. So it is actually a grade 5 titanium case back. That's all.